140 for the rebel. The world turned its back on me. I'm a cripple. We got soldiers, he got soldiers, but I got different ones. Ain't no way out, I feel up. Don't pray for nothing, I'm sitting. Please forgive me for the times that I did. If Rangers give me, have no respect to your print or be about your business. Trying to pick up with a blind field. They said there'll be many matches. I'm just grinding for my time share. The devils and clan they hunt you like bad pal. But ain't no getting out the game like you mungie. You take that office and Dundee. They try to deal death to a priest. You won't make it out in one piece. So you can stand. Just make sure you got the heart. Say your name 3 times. It is death to us part. So how you feel about this truth out of show? This ain't the like you think, nigga. I should want now. Even your own people go this show. And the Lord said they hate you for my name. Now you better keep it on. Ain't no more guessing. Ain't no more questions. Make sure my election till I'm tucked away like Joe's dead. Murder for capitalized. Murder at the Capitol. The world in amazement. We like fuck them. Raise it. I pity those watching life as it go by. Be giving mercy in this life. I don't know why. In cup smoke, never try to. The dead on my brother be the dead. It's all I don't. It's a photo salute, my nigga. Salute, my nigga. Like how you stay focused. I told him I'm motivated because of you, my nigga. Brotherhoods and weapons. Still got weapons on the seat. And I never do my niggas like Bishop did right here. Never mind, you don't believe. They under anesthesia. Shorty say she leave me, say she wanna let that love go. So I let that love grow. But if I bring you to my bed, that's a blood. So how you feel about this truth out of show? This ain't the like you think, nigga. I should want. Even your own people go this home. And the Lord said they hate you for my name, so you better keep it on. Take that. First breath I took, a life too surreal. Second breath I took was the pivot and strike, finish the kill. Influenced by might, with every sentence reveal. I won't pay back, fuck the dollar bill. Remain calm as the pressure build. Die to endure until I let this pump select my foes in memory and empty till. I only live to do my master's will. I.S.U.P.K, motherfucker. Ain't no cowards on this battlefield. Gone astray but made greater. In my return, left to my mistakes. Every error was a lesson learned. Now I don't move, let's it get approved. Won't take a step till it get confirmed. Armed and take, it was made for our sakes. March like a tank. One step will make the ground shake. My people sick in their head, Lord, let this truth spread like an outbreak and bring hell like the crackers can't escape. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. I want payback for the scars in the slave memoirs. Till Christ arrived, I can't let it slide. Ignore the lies, the only free will that's before your eyes. It's life or death, nigga, you decide. This heaven was made for me and my fellow. I patiently wait with my eyes on the sparrow, and I pull the trigger while my lips kiss the barrel. Before I ever let a white bitch do me like Othello. I want out this wicked life like Romello. By any means, this devil pulling strings like Geppetto. Lay hold on this brotherhood, I swear I never let go. And fuck that silver spoon, got too much love for the ghetto. Let's go settle with BB, I die for the cause. Just to hear them angels and blood. And I'm true by every word I say. Cause I know my victory on the way. Opponent, nigga, walk this way. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with them angels. This life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with the angels, boy, I can't be touched. Came through in the clutch. They hate what they can't doubt us. We princes set of power, what you know about us? Evil all around us, but a nigga straight. I told you I can't be touched. Only angels walk at my pace. I'm grateful for the words that had me delivered. I'm hungry for the glory, but I ain't eating till I feed my next. One West, what I die for. Attire out the book of numbers, this rifle from the Archangel Michael. My niggas rebels, you can't deny them. It's 144. I be running to and fro with the Allah higher. My UPK soldiers ain't no folding or pretending. We in it for them trials, for friends, we want dominion. In the election ascension, I hope I make it through. Give a damn what a bitch think, as long as my niggas know I'm true. We trade your kind to get success. We make it through the eye of the needle, nigga. Life may be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard, and I won't give up. And could you tell me about this hard that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be hard, but I can't give up. I'm about to go hard, and I won't give up. Could you tell me about this God that you feel so much? And why you look so tough? It's real, I be walking with them angels, boy, I can't be touched. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hear that raw shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on the bullshit. They see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my body. Real niggas right beside me. Damn right, I broke my arm, going up like a rocket. Can't nobody stop my this. These niggas garbage, so watch your mouth, boy. Coming all black, slithering house, call that mouth, boy. I'm off the hip like a cowboy. I'm a king, you should bow, boy. Shawty like, damn, man, you cut up. Nothing I can handle. 144 with a roof, going Rambo. Niggas do you dirty like a stick in a bando. So I play the corner like a bum with a banjo. I'ma lead by example. Keep on stopping. Got this bitch off the hand, got the juice, got the drip, about to hit the bitch with the soap. It ain't rap, this is soap. Can't taste a bitch unless she with the coke. They say they wanna hit that raw shit. These niggas claiming that they bullshit. These niggas better move and coach shit. Cause if they make the wrong move, it see me, they like, ooh, keep on shopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop it. They say they wanna hit that raw shit. I'm on my way. Coming up on the bullshit. I do it how a veteran be. You better than me. I'm Reggie at the edge of the key. It's all money, no honey. Think you settle and see. You locked up, fucked up, and it's back to the streets. It's one West. You can check the residency. I reside with soldiers died on the soles of their feet. Cause there's death before designer. Ain't no power than me. Cause I'm cold as a bitch's shoulder. You ain't calling no weak. Get the cookies on his feet. Yeah, like you well done. Got the cookies rolling with me. And they all red, rum. Got you fucking scared, son. Hit the banging on his feet. Put my fucking head on. Black, red, drum. Black and yellow, air one. Homie, you ain't got a miss. So just you wear. Feeling like a legend in this shit, little nigga, I'm past veteran. Never feeling third, little nigga, I'm past second. Guns, I gotta have them all like Ash Ketchum. Shotty break a nigga ribs up like his white flesh. We all stepping, kill you with kindness cause I'm dead nice. That 5'7" put you 6 feet, not talking height. That judge giving out 5, what you do in life. These hands are root GPS, mean right. That's mean right, we build different, you know the vibes. And we stamped it authentic, we know the rhymes. I keep a 144 because I know a kind. Know it's hard, you know I'm with animals when we flow and ride. We back again, no camp, when I'm with camp again. Yeah, they said they want smoke it, so we matching them. Everything righteous, so you know when we get back at them, you get hit up with a K, but no acronym. They say they wanna hit that rough shit. niggas claiming that they boss. They never been up on the coast. Cause if they make the wrong on the coast, see me, they like, ooh, keep on chopping. I'm on my way up and they ain't gon' stop me. They say they wanna hit it roast. Coming up on the coast. All right. Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, Thumb to all the brothers, Yahweh Shema Thumb Shem Yahweh Shai to all the sisters. I'm priest and officer of 500 Zar Y. All right, this is the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under commanding Gen.YAHANNA. All right, we're not affiliated with any group or any Hebrew Israelite group or any group on the planet. All right, with that being said, today I'm gonna be going into heaven and hell breakdown. All right. Once again, thanks to your Christian church out there, man. People believe that they die and go to hell. I mean, to heaven or hell. You understand? But you know that's a lie. According to the Bible, that's not what happens after death. You understand? And we're going to go ahead and break it down real quick, you understand? Because it is important to understand what does happen after you die, all right? So I'm going to go into heaven and hell. I'm going to show a little bit of how what actually happens according to the Bible is that we get reincarnated in the world, all right? We get reincarnated, regenerated, you understand, into the world. All right. So let's go ahead and start to break that down. All right. First, let's start off showing that we get reincarnated. Okay. I'm going to start off with that. Then we're going to go into showing, you understand, showing that heaven and hell is conditions here on earth. All right, we're going to get into that as well. All right, so we're going to show how it's a condition of living. You understand? Here on the earth is either heaven or hell. You understand? Our oppressors have built their heaven. You understand? They've built their heaven here on the earth. You understand? They have, like the scripture says, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. They have everything on the planet, man. But like Ezekiel 35:5 says, man, they have a perpetual hatred, even though they have built their heaven on your blood, you know, on the murder, theft, and rape of our people, man. Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, even though they've built their heaven and you've built it for them as slaves. Even though all that, even though you're destroyed and still, you know, it's still destroyed to this day, they still can murder you whenever they want, even though you've never gotten any justice for anything that they have done to our people. Even though all that, man, even through all that, they still have a perpetual hatred for our people, man. You understand? A perpetual hatred, and they still want to kill us, and they still want to, and it's funny, right? Because like we'll get a lot of strife from our own people, you understand, saying that we shouldn't hate them and we should love them, but haven't we loved them enough? You understand? We've built their heaven, we've built their country, we've fought in their wars, we've given them all the love, you understand, that we can possibly give, and all they've given us is that perpetual hatred, you understand, in return. All right, so they put that lie into our people's head during slavery, right? To try and make Black and Hispanic people better slaves. You understand? To make us better slaves, they would tell us that, you know, when you die, according to how much you've loved them, you know, and how much you've done for them is what your reward will be in heaven in the clouds. You understand? While, like I said, they made their heaven here on earth. All right. They made their heaven here on earth, on our blood. You understand? On our people and our land. You understand? Murdered our babies, but they tell you your heaven is somewhere off in the clouds. You understand? And you got to die to get there. All right. So that's why it's so important for our people to understand that for one, the Lord says that we shouldn't love them. You understand? We should not even try and be around them. You understand? We should separate ourselves from them. And then he also shows how the heaven is here on earth. All right. So we're going to show and prove today. Let's get into it. All right. First, let's start off right with hold on. Let's start off in Ecclesiastes. All right, we're going to the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes. All right. Let me just get there real quick if I can. Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 3. I'm going to start at verse 3. All right. Ecclesiastes 1 and verse 3. Like I said, I'm going to show first that we do reincarnate here on the earth. You understand? We die, we come back. All right. I'm going to show that first, and then we're going to get into how heaven and hell is a condition here on earth. All right. So Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 3, it says, "What have a man of all his labor which he taketh under the sun?" What's under the sun? On the earth. Here is where you labor. You understand? That's important to understand. You understand? Where he says, under the sun. Right? I'll read that again. It says, "What profit hath a man of all his labor," everything you work for here, right? To get a big house, to get a big bank account, a nice car, maybe a boat, whatever, right? All that you labor for. He says, what does it profit, right? That of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun. So under the sun, where do you labor at? That's a question. You understand? Where do you labor at to get all these things, right? All these, like he said, what profit had a man of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun? Oh, where you labor at is here on the earth. All right. It's here on the earth. Now that's important to understand. Remember that, okay? Because we're gonna be revisiting what's under the sun. Okay. So under the sun is the earth. And what profit does it have for a man, right? Of all these labors. You understand? Of all these labors, like Job said, naked I came into this world, and the same is the way I will leave. You understand? I'm paraphrasing. All right. Meaning what? Meaning you don't take nothing with you, right? You don't take nothing with you. Okay. So he's asking you, what does it profit you, right? To chase after these things and chase after these things, right? To worry about having the biggest house, to worry about having the nicest car with the cleanest rims and the fattest bank account out there, because you ain't gonna take none of it with you when you die. You understand? It says, verse 4, "What generation passes, not what, one generation passes away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abide forever." All right, so the generation goes and comes, right? You can see this if you ever been to a hospital. You understand? Like, let's say maybe you've been to a hospital to have a baby. You understand? Like your rib is pregnant, you go to the hospital, y'all about to have a baby. You understand? While your baby's entering into the world, one in another part of the hospital is leaving the world. You understand? They're passing away. All right. So let's jump down, right? Because if you keep reading here, it shows an example, right? It says the sun goes up, it goes down on the other side, it comes right back up. And that's meaning what? And when it's saying the same thing about us, one generation goes and the next one passes, right? I mean, the one passes and the next one comes. You understand? It's the same as the sun. When it leaves and it goes down, you understand? It comes right back up the next day. All right. So you've seen that it's a what is it called? It's like a flow of the way things happen. You understand? So let's jump down to verse 9. We're going to go jump down to verse 9. All right. It says, the thing that has been, it is that which shall be. So the thing that has been is the thing that shall be. So what is the thing? What is the thing that it's talking about? Let's hold this. All right. We're coming right back. Let's go to chapter 6 and verse 10. We're going to see what that thing is, because he tells us what that thing is that he's talking about, that has been and that shall be. You understand? So Ecclesiastes chapter 6 verse 10, right? It says that which hath been is named already. So that thing that has been and which shall be is named already. All right. And it says, and it is known that it is man that has came before. It is man that shall be one more time. Right. He passes away. Right. Just like the seasons. You understand? And like I said, you read the first part of the chapter, and it shows you all the repetition that the earth goes through is the same way. You understand? Just like you have the whole dead of winter where everything is dead. You understand? Everything dies, and then in spring it gets born again. You understand? It comes back to life. All right. So that thing that has been, it is named already, and it is known that it is man. All right. It says, neither may he contend with him that is mightier than he. You understand? Why? All right. Why cannot contend with him that is mightier than he? Because the Lord. All right. Let's jump down. All right. Let's go to let me see. Let's go to chapter 3 and verse 14. All right. Let's go to chapter 3, verse 14. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 14. All right. It says, I know that whatsoever the Most High doeth, it shall be forever. And that's your soul. You understand? It's forever. You understand? It comes, regenerates back in the earth. All right. It says, and also, like he said, the earth abides forever. All right. It says, nothing can be put to it, nor anything taken from it. And God doeth it that men should fear before him. All right. So that's why you can't see any of the oppressors, you understand, cloning. They can't clone humans because they don't know how to clone a soul. They cannot create a soul. Only the Most High can. You understand? That's why there's no such thing as a human clone. You understand? They might be able to clone a chicken or whatever, but a human, as far as the soul, you understand, the understanding that human has, the learning that it has, you understand, they can't create that. They can't add to the earth souls. You understand? It says, and God doeth it that men should fear before him. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And God require that which is past. So like we read in chapter 6, verse 10, that thing that has been is named already, and it is man. And he cannot contend with the Most High. Why? Because like he said right here, he just said at the end of verse 15 right here, he said, and God required that which is past. Now that's important, because any sin, let's go to chapter 8, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 8. We're going to come right back, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and start at verse 11, all right? You might go your whole life, right? Smoking weed and being evil and wicked and sleeping with whores, and then you might die at, 80, 90 years old. You understand? But the Lord requires that which is past, all right? The things you've done in a previous life is things you're going to pay for in one life or the other. All right, I'm going to show you this scripture right here, Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11. All right, and then I'm going to show you an example of what one of these things is. All right, so Ecclesiastes chapter 8, verse 11 says, because sentence against an evil work is not executed speedily, right?
because you won't get punished quickly by the Most High. You understand? And it's because of his mercy. He's giving you a chance. Like he said to Paul, he said, my grace is sufficient for thee, meaning you have time to change this. So you better change it. You understand? But because nothing happens to you, you can keep smoking weed or keep sleeping with whores or keep doing whatever kind of evil you're doing, eating the pork, shrimp, crab, and lobster. Because you can keep doing this and nothing's happened to you, right? It says, an evil work is not executed speedily. Therefore, the heart of the Son of Man is fully set in them to do evil. You think you could just get away with it for the rest of your life, and then whatever happens. You understand? But the Lord requires that which is past. That's why it's important for our people to know that you come back in the earth. You come back in the earth, you live again, you understand? And then you pay for what you've done. Either you pay in this life that you live in, or you pay in the next one. You understand? You pay in the next one because God requires that which is past. All right. So that whole YOLO thing, right? I believe I might be out of date, you understand? But that was, I believe, early 2000s, people were saying that left and right. YOLO, YOLO, you understand? You only live once. So what came from that? What came from that was, what do they say now? Live your best life, right? That's what came from that. You understand? So you'll go off and do all sorts of wickedness, believing that this is just a short life and that once life is over, that's it. You understand? When you don't understand, because of the Christian church, they don't tell you we come back in the earth and you pay for that YOLO life you lived. You understand? You pay for living your best life, evil and wickedness. You understand? Now, let's see. Where was I? Verse 12, it says, though a sinner do evil 100 times and his days be prolonged, yet surely I know that it shall be well with them that fear the Most High, which fear before him. You understand? Because the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom, man. Right? You got to seek discipline. You understand? And obedience to the Most High God. But because you think that you're just getting away with it and getting away with it, right? You get to 20 years, right? So that was one of the things about Black and Hispanic and Native American people. They would say, you're not going to make it till you're 18. You're not going to make it till you're 21. You hit that. And then you keep living on. You're like, whoa, I made it. So why change? You understand? You hit 30, you hit 40, and then you die when you're 80, but you think you've made it. You think you've gotten away with the evil and wickedness that you've done. Now, let's go get an example, man. Let's go get an example. All right. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 68. All right. Let's get an example of this, right? This is the things that the Most High, these are the prophecies, right? That the Most High said. He said, he said in Deuteronomy 28 and 1, right? Let me actually read it so I quote it correctly. You understand? Deuteronomy 28 and 1 says, and it shall come to pass, if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations. So you see, he's given a prophecy, right? He's saying, if you do whatever I tell you to do, if you hearken diligently to do all my law, statutes, and commandments, not some, not the ones you like. He said, all, right? He said that you will be put on high. Now, when we jump down to verse 15, right? Let's jump down to verse 15. He says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right. So we're clear on that. Let's go to verse 68 now. Right. because we're talking about reincarnation in the world, right? This was a prophecy that the Most High gave to Moses, and Moses gave to the children of Israel, the ones that came out of Egypt, right? So he says here in verse 68, and it says, "And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again." So he tells the Israelites, right? He tells the Israelites that if you don't hearken unto the Lord thy God to do all his commandments, that these curses shall come upon thee. One of the curses he told them is that the Lord will bring them into Egypt again. But wait a minute. They died in the wilderness. How did they go back into Egypt? It says with ships. How did they go into Egypt with ships? You understand? It says, "By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there ye shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you." Now we know that happened, right? But it happened in a later generation. It happened in the transatlantic slave trade, man. You understand? Where Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people went into slavery as a nation on ships. It wasn't the people at the that Moses was talking to right there, but he said it shall come to pass if you don't. Why did it happen to them though? Because they died, and the generation passed, and another one came, and the generation passed, and another one came, and it was them. Like the scripture says that the Lord will visit you to the third and fourth generation. You understand? Because when you die, you come back in the earth, right? Maybe 2 or 3 generations down the road, and you suffer these curses. You suffer these curses in your next life. All right, just like Christ told his disciples when they came across that man, he was born blind from the womb. You understand? He was in the womb and he was born blind. And the disciples asked Christ, who did sin, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Christ didn't like ask them, what are you talking about? Who sinned? He didn't tell the disciples like, man, it's a crazy question you're asking. Why? Because Christ taught his disciples reincarnation. He didn't scorn them or ridicule them for what they were saying. He explained. He said, no, this man didn't sin, neither did his parents, but that the works of the Most High, you understand, I'm paraphrasing. But how could this man have been born blind if he had committed sin? How could he have committed sin, Salakia, if he was born blind? You understand? If he was born blind, how could he have committed sin? He was in his mother's womb. It's because it could have happened in a past life where he committed sin, and he thought because evil work wasn't sentence against the evil work wasn't executed speedily, that he could just live on being wicked and that he would never have to pay for it. That's why the disciples asked Christ, who did sin? Because they knew that this could have been a punishment from a past life here, because God requires that which is past. You understand? So let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 35. All right. 2nd Ezra chapter 14, verse 35. All right. So I'm gonna get 2 more on reincarnation, right? Because this is not a reincarnation breakdown. This is just part of it, right? And it is important to understand heaven and hell breakdown, right? So 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse 35. All right. It says, for after death shall the judgment come. So you die. Your soul goes to the Lord, to the Most High, right? And you get judged. Okay. It says, when we shall live again. When we shall live again. You understand? It says, and shall the names of the righteous be manifest. The names of the righteous will be manifest. It says, I'll read it again. For after death, after we die, it says, shall the judgment come. You get judged by the Most High, whether you kept his laws or not. You understand? It says, when we shall live again, we'll live again after that. After that judgment passes, right? It says, and then shall the names of the righteousness be manifest. Why? Because you got judged by the Most High off of your past life. You went to the Most High, you died. You went to the Most High. He judged you. He said, okay, you kept all my law, statutes, and commandments. You were obedient. Put you back in the earth. Like he said, you shall live again. And your name will be manifest as righteousness, because you will come and you will live a good life here in the truth. You understand? Here in the truth. It says, and the works of the ungodly shall be declared. You understand? Because you'll come and you'll live a bad life. All right. So we're going to get into that as well. All right. So let's go to one more on this reincarnation, right? Let's go to Psalms, the book of Psalms. Psalms 104. Psalms, wrong book. Psalms 104 and verse 29. All right. Psalms 104, verse 29. Because like he said, man, the Lord requires that which is past, man. Anything you've done in the past, just because, like it said in Ecclesiastes 8 and 11, just because execution of a wicked act isn't executed speedily, because judgment isn't executed speedily, right? Because the Lord doesn't, just after you've eaten the pork or after you've smoked the blunt, the Lord doesn't strike you down right there. You think you could just go on. You understand? Go on being evil and wicked. But the Lord requires that which is past. That's why it said that after death, you get the judgment and you shall live again. Okay? So here, Psalms 104, verse 29. It says, thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. The thou is the Most High God. He hides his face from us, which means he takes away his protection from us. You understand? It says, thou they are troubled. So when he takes away his protection over us, you understand, we are in trouble. You understand? We get devoured by every beast of the field. Okay? We get devoured out here by every beast of the field. You understand? They destroy us. They do that crafty counsel against us, and it's because we have sinned against the Lord. You understand? And so he's not we're not under his protection no more. All right. It says, thou takest away their breath. So we die, right? Everything that dies is of the Lord. You understand? Like he says, I kill, I make alive. You understand? I wound, I heal, and nothing can take what does it say? Let me actually read it. It says, see now that I, even I, am he, and there is no God with me. I kill, I make alive, I wound, and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. Nobody can save you out of the Lord's hand. You understand? When he wants you dead, you will die. You understand? When he wants you alive, you will be born again. You will be born into the world again. You understand? So that's important to know, that he kills, he makes alive. There's no God with him. You understand? He wounds, he heals, and there's none that could deliver out of his hand. All right. So it says, thou hidest thy face, they are troubled. All right. Just like he said, aren't there two, I'm paraphrasing, right? Aren't there two birds, right? That if one fall, isn't it the Lord that had done it? You understand? Even if the birds fall, if anything that dies in the world is of the Lord's will. You understand? So it says, thou takest away their breath, they die, and return to their dust. Thou, so who's the thou? The Most High. Thou sends forth thy spirit. The Lord sends forth his spirit, meaning his will, right? His spirit, just like who? Just like Christ. He said, this is of the Holy Spirit, just like John the Baptist. This is, he was of the Holy Spirit, even from the womb. We're all of the Lord's will when he wants us to be born, when he wants us to die. Like he said, I kill, I make alive. The Lord will make you alive whenever he's good and ready to. All right. He'll send you back in the earth. He'll say, yep, that's where I want, such and such born at this time, at this moment, to them parents right there. And boom, that's when you'll be conceived. You understand? It's of his will. It says, thou sendest forth thy spirit, they are created, and thou renewest the face of the earth. See that? We come back in the earth and renew the face of the earth. Why? Because like in Ecclesiastes, it said, that which has been is named already. And it is known that it is man. After the death, when you shall be judged and you shall live again, all right? It's because reincarnation is real, man. Reincarnation is real. And as Black and Hispanic and Native American people, we kind of know this, you understand, in our spirit. You understand? When we see our kids running around, we say, man, he has an old spirit. You understand? He has an old soul, right? Oh, man, that's my grandpa right there. We've kind of known this all along. You understand? It's because of the doctrine of the Christian church. That's why Psalms 119 says, man, I hate every false way. I hate every false way, because now, because you believe you go to heaven, you're only working for yourself. You're only working to either you make it to heaven, or you're just trying to live your best life. You understand? Till you die, and you'll figure it out when you're dead. You understand? Not knowing that the sins that we do, it affects our children. It affects their children and their children. Just like the Most High God said that he will visit us to the third and fourth generation. Meaning what? Meaning these curses are generational curses. Like it says in Deuteronomy 28 and I believe verse 17. The fruit of our womb is even cursed, because we pass these curses on. We are the ones who want our kids to celebrate Christmas and celebrate their birthday. And we say, what? It's for the kids, man. It's for the kids. It's for fun. It's for our family to get together. You understand? Because we want to be evil and wicked. And because last Christmas, the Lord didn't strike you down, you think because execution against this evil work hasn't been done speedily, you could just go on celebrating Christmas. You could just go on celebrating your birthday. But the Lord requires that which is past, man. You will pay. You will pay for it. You understand? So let's get into heaven and hell. All right. So reincarnation is real, right? That was just a quick breakdown, a little one, right? Just some quick scriptures of reincarnation. To understand, we need to understand that. To understand that we don't go to heaven when we die. We are not up there on some clouds, you understand? And we don't go to some hell, right? The hell is it's some doctrine, I believe, of Dante's Inferno, right? Is where the Catholics got it from. You understand? And it made its way into Christianity, all that, right? It's all paganism. You understand? It's all paganism. They believe that there's some people, some nations believe that there's seven layers of hell, and that you go into limbo, or I forgot what they call it. I think it's called limbo, right? Where you're just a ghost and you haven't even went to heaven or hell yet. Like, it's all craziness. You understand? The Lord says that you come back and renew the face of the earth, right? That which has been already, and it is named that it is man, right? So let's go back to Ecclesiastes. All right, we left off at verse 9. All right, Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 9. All right, it says, that thing that had been, it is that which shall be. And we read what it was. It is man. You understand? That which has been, right, is that which shall be. Why? Because you die, you come back, right? It says, and there is no new thing under the sun. Like we read earlier, remember, that's why I said it was important. Okay, it was important in verse 3, where he says, what profit hath a man of all his labor, which he taketh under the sun? Because where do you labor at under the sun? The earth. You labor under the sun to get a big house, to get a nice car, right? That's why it's important to understand where the sun, what is under the sun, okay? So it says, and there is no new thing under the sun. Verse 10, is there anything, it says, Wherefore, whereof it may be said, see, this is new. When you and your rib, and you go to the hospital, she's pregnant, she's about to push that baby out. That baby comes out, you're like, oh, this is a new baby. Look at this newborn baby. Nah, man. This newborn baby has been here before. You understand? It says, wherefore it may be said, see, this is new. It hath been already of old time, which was before us. That baby that you're saying, look at my newborn baby. Nah, it's been here before, of old time, before us. That's why we know in our spirit when we say, man, that's my grandpa right there. When you look at your son, you say, man, that's my grandpa. Because in our spirit, we always know we die and we come back. All right? So let's show heaven and hell. All right? Showing that it's a condition here on earth. Let's go to Matthew. Let's start off with heaven. All right? Matthew chapter 6 and verse 10. Like this is the Lord's Prayer, right? Like Christ, he was a genius. You understand? I love this prayer, because in this little prayer, it explains so much, right? And it cuts Christianity to the core. You understand? With just this prayer. All right. So I'm gonna read at verse 9. All right. It says, after this manner, therefore pray ye, our Father. So right there off the back, right, sidebar, he's saying our Father, and he's talking, right? So he's including himself when he says our Father. So he's letting you know right there, he's not God. He's saying our Father, which art in heaven. But Christ is standing right there in front of the disciples saying this. So he's not the Father in heaven. He's saying our Father, which art in heaven. So that's the sidebar. All right, it says, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. So the kingdom is going to come. Thy will be done in earth. Because in heaven, unlike what the Christians tell you, right? You go, and the only reason you go to hell, the only reason that they believe there's a hell where there's burning fire and Satan is there poking you with a pitchfork is because they believe Satan fell. They believe Satan rebelled against God. But right here, he's saying, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. The Lord's will is done in heaven. No angel has ever rebelled or disobeyed against the Most High God. All right. So he's saying, let thy will be done on earth. Now, Christians, they pray this all the time. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. Not even knowing not even paying attention to what they're saying. They're saying that they should do the Lord's will right here. Thy will be done. The Lord's will be done. What's the Lord's will for every Christian out there? It's for you to put down the pork chop, man. For you to stop smoking weed. For you to get off the stripper pole. That's his will for you, man. For you to be obedient to his laws, statutes, and his commandments. Just like we read in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 15. Verse 1 and verse 15. If you hearken diligently to do all my laws, statutes, and commandments, not some, not the ones you like, but all, that you will be put on high. And if you don't, all these curses shall come upon you. That's the Lord's will for you, right? The whole meaning of life. Fear God and keep his commandments. This is the whole duty of men. You understand? That's your whole duty. That's doing the Lord's will, is being obedient to the Most High God. And every Christian prays this prayer right here. And then they go and pick up a pork chop. They say, thy will be done in earth. Talking about themselves. But then they go light up a blunt. Or they go to their strip club or their OnlyFans. You understand? Like, that's crazy. All right. But it says, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So the kingdom of God is going to be here on earth where Christ rules. You understand? And Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people. All right. So let's drop that one. Let's go to Revelation chapter 5. All right. Like that prayer is heavy, man. It's real heavy. You understand? When you keep reading it, you understand? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth. You're praying. You're first off, you're saying that Christ is not God, right? But in the Christian church, they believe Christ is God. Then you're praying that you do God's will, but you don't do it. Right? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Meaning what? Meaning you're not trying to be a selfish individual. You're worrying about the worries of today, having faith that the Lord will provide for you tomorrow. You understand? That will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive our trespasses. You know what's funny? A mother, right? A mother will tell you, you should honor your mother, right? But because they have hatred for your father, they will never bring that up. You understand? You should have love and honor. What about honor because the correct way to quote that is honor thy father and thy mother. You understand? Why? Because the father is the head. You understand? So for her to not be able to forgive him and try and teach the children, oh, your father was a deadbeat this and a deadbeat that. You go and pray this prayer. You're saying, forgive us our trespass as we forgive those who would trespass against us. You're going over there and you are not forgiving. You understand? You're not forgiving your children's father. You understand? You're not forgiving them. So you're saying, forgive me my trespass as I forgive those who trespass against me. So the same way you're saying the same way I forgive is the way I want you to forgive me, God. And what do? You go and you don't forgive your children's fathers or whatever. You understand? Whatever scenario, right? So that's Christianity for you, right? Let's go to Revelation chapter 5 and verse 10, right? They be praying and they don't even know what they're praying for, right? But they won't forget to pray for that winning the lottery or winning the bingo. You understand? They won't forget to pray for that though. You understand? But so, anyways, Revelation chapter 5 and verse 10, right? And it says, and has made us unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth. What I was just saying, the kingdom of heaven, thy kingdom come, where Christ is going to rule as king on King David's throne. And Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, the saints, the ones who kept the law, who are into the end, you understand, that has kept God's law, statutes, and commandments, have been in this truth, have been in the one body, one spirit, and have been in the spirit of Christ and been obedient. Right? They will be what? They will be unto our God kings and priests, and we shall reign on the earth, not in some cloud up in the sky, man. No, you understand? Here on the earth. All right. So let's drop that one. Let's go to Revelations 21 and verse 2. So this is all right now about heaven, right? Where's heaven? You understand? Like you said, this is going to be here. We shall reign on earth. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. All right. And it says, Revelation 21, verse 2. It says, and I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from the Most High out of heaven. It's coming down. It's in a vision, but it's here on earth. All right. It says, coming down from the Most High out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. All right. Where can we understand, right? Where can we get a precept? Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. All right. This is a new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. It's going to be here on earth, though, where we shall reign as kings and priests on the earth. Right? 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 9. It says, for Esau is the end of the world, Now, is it talking about the planet, right? Like this is a metaphor I always like to use, right? It's true. You understand? When Christopher Columbus came over here, you understand? This is how you understand world, because people don't realize today that the word world in those times was talking about age, people, society. It wasn't talking about the planet. Only till this day is where the word world has changed into the whole planet. You understand? So when Christopher Columbus came over here, he called this the New World, right? The New World. But he was not on another planet. What was he calling this? He was calling this the New Age, the new society, the new people, not the new planet. All right. So here, when it says for Esau is the end of the world, it's talking about Esau's reign on this earth, his people, his society. You understand? And it says, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followed. What's the it? That's the world to come where Jacob rules. Like we read in Revelations 5 and 10, right? That we shall reign as kings and priests here on earth, right? A new Jerusalem coming down out of heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, right? So let's get one more on heaven. Let's go to Romans chapter 10. All right, Romans chapter 10 and verse 6. All right, so this is for every Christian, man. Every Christian. Because like I said earlier, right? Because for Christianity, they believe they're going to heaven, right? So they're doing, believing that what they're doing, right? I should say, believing in what they're doing by them going to church and having the big hat, jumping up and down, pretending they're holy, but never changing their life around. They think that they're doing something to make it to heaven. You understand? And yes, any Christian, you understand? You think you're going to heaven? Yes, definitely. I'm going to heaven. I am. I'm saved. I'm going to heaven. You understand? They'll say the Lord will one day reveal itself to you that you can be saved and go to heaven. But they'll never say, stop eating the pork. Obey the Lord. You understand? So Romans chapter 10 and verse 6. This is every Christian right here, man. Every Christian. It says, but the righteousness which is of faith speaketh on this wise. Say not in thy heart, who shall ascend into heaven? Who's going to go up to heaven? Don't be saying that, right? It says that is to bring Christ down from above, to come down into earth. You understand? To give salvation to all Hispanic and Native American Indian people. Just like Paul said, it's my heart's desire that all Israel shall be saved, right? And that's what we try and do here in the ISUPK, man. Try and go to our people, man, that all of them could get saved, right? Because to get up out of the oppression of our oppressor, you understand? We want to see every Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, get that, right? But we don't try and be selfish and say, well, I make it to heaven. I'm going to go to church and I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that so I can go up to heaven and get wings, blah, blah, blah. Like every Christian likes to say, no. We go out there and put in work that we can bring Christ down into the earth, right? So you see, man, heaven is here. It's gonna be here on earth. Okay, we have the heaven, right, where the Most High sits. You understand? Where no man will be up there in heaven with the Most High God. All right. So you have, the heaven, the heaven, which is pretty much called outer space, right? Then you have the firmament, which is the heaven, which is the ozone layer, the sky that you see in the sky. Then you have the heaven that's going to be here on earth, which is a living condition. Heaven, the kingdom of heaven, like Christ told the disciples, he told them, don't go into the way of the Gentile and into any of the city of the Samaritans enter ye not, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and preach to them that the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? For Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, where Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, like it said, will rule, will be kings and priests here on the earth, right? To where now we will get the earth in correct order. You understand? To where it's the Lord's will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. Just like all the angels, just like everything's in order up there in heaven where God is sitting. You understand? It'll be the same way here on earth where everybody does God's will. You understand? Everybody. All right. So that's heaven, right? Let's go to hell. All right. Let's show what hell is. So you see, like I said, heaven for our oppressor, man, just take a look around. Like I said earlier, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. You understand? They have billions and trillions of dollars, right? They could go on a family vacation to Cancun and Hawaii and here and there, right? For months on end, for months. And their bank account will still grow. You understand? They'll still have that house. They have a summer house out in Hawaii. They have a winter house out in Cancun. You understand? Well, what happened in Texas? That governor, right? Like that's a good example right there. That governor, right? When Texas was getting hit with that snowstorm, right? Below freezing temperatures, that governor went to Cancun. He was like, "I'm out." You understand? I'm out. But you couldn't leave. Where were you gonna go? You couldn't even turn the heater on or didn't have nothing. You understand? But he was out. Our oppressor lives in their kingdom of heaven where they can just up and leave their job. You understand? Because they'll still get paid. Why? Because they own the business. You understand? They own you. You have to show up. You have to go slave for them. Even though you might have to go to 2 and 3 jobs, you're still struggling. They own the business where you slave at. And they could go on vacation for 2 or 3 months and be in heavenly state, right? With their family, living deliciously while you're in hell. You understand? Because their heaven is already here. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. No matter how much they have, like Ezekiel 35:5 says, they have that perpetual hatred for you and they want you dead anyways. You understand? They want you there. Like, this is the whole point. They want you there to be their slave, but they wish they didn't need you, right? That's the whole, like, that's probably one of the reasons why, you understand, why they want to make everything robotic, right? Every factory robotic, everything robotic. So they could finally get rid of you because they don't want you here. They just need you as their slave, you understand, to be in hell while they continue in their heaven. All right. So let's go to Matthew chapter 10 and verse 28. Matthew 10 and verse 28. It says, "And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul." Right? Don't worry about these other nations of people that can kill you, just your body. You understand? You have to serve the Lord unto death, like he said, serve the Lord unto death. All right. Don't worry about them that could just kill the body. You understand? It says, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both body, so like both soul and body in hell, because he'll bring you back, like he said. You will die, the judgment will come, and you will live again, like we read. And you will serve out that judgment from the Lord in hell, here in hell. On this earth is where hell is. And you will serve out that judgment here that he handed down to you. You understand? And you will die again. You'll come back. You'll live in hell again. Don't fear them. That's why you must fear the Lord. You understand? Like the story of the 7 brothers in the Apocrypha, right? How the king was trying to force pork upon them, and they feared the Lord. It was like, damn that, we'll take that. And you got to read that story, right? You got to read that story of how them brothers died, man. And all the way up, and the mother was proud of them, and she was like, yeah, die honorably. You understand? Which is hardcore, right? Because they would not take that pork. Why? Because they feared the Lord instead. You understand? They let the devil kill their body, right? But they served the Lord until the end. All right. You gotta fear the Lord of what he can do to you, right? Because like he said, he'll bring you right back. You come right back, and he requires that which is past, like it said. All right. So it says, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. All right. So you see, though, right here, how is your soul and your body in hell? If hell is a place down under the ground where some red guy is poking you and you're burning forever. You understand? How is your body down there? You understand? It's not possible. But it says here that both soul and body are in hell. Why? Because hell is a condition here on earth. All right. So let's show that. All right. Let's go to Ecclesiastes. Oh, it's a lot. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 3, right? Ecclesiastes chapter 3, and I'm gonna start at verse 16. So we read above earlier, right? That you will that God requires that which is past, right? Like it says in verse 15. So verse 16 it says, and moreover, you got to understand that though, right? That God requires that which is past in your past life, right? That's why I went into reincarnation a little bit to show that we die, right? We come back. It says there's no new thing under the sun. That new baby, it has been even before us. That's what it says, right? So you got to understand that that's why he requires that which is past, because even though you do these evil works and you don't die right away, you might live your whole life. He requires those sins that you've done. All right. So for our so-called oppressor, right? Like we saw in Deuteronomy 28 and 68, the Lord said unto those Israelites that came out of Egypt, he said, if you don't hearken, you will go into slave ships. You'll be sold for bondmen, go into Egypt again on slave ships, and you'll be sold as bondmen and bondwomen. But they died in the wilderness. But they came back in the earth, and they served out that judgment. You understand? That's the whole transatlantic slave trade right there. So for those oppressors out there who say, well, that wasn't me. I wasn't the ones in, a slave master in slavery. Yeah, you was. You was. All right. And not only that, but you benefit from what happened back then. You understand? So for our Black and Hispanic people, right, to say, well, he's my white friend. He wasn't in slavery. He wasn't the master in slavery. He's cool. Well, he could have been that slave master that was whooping your back. You understand? That's why we always say, like, unknowingly, really, we always say, well, they took our land. They killed our family. You understand? They murdered us because, like I said earlier, we kind of always knew, in our spirit that we died and come back. Like we look at our sons and say, that's my grandpa right there, or he has an old spirit, right? He has an old soul. You understand? So anyways, verse 16, right? It says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. Now, that's why I said in chapter 1, Ecclesiastes, that's why I said, make sure you remember that where it said in verse 3, that all your labors, what profit a man for all his labors that he labored for under the sun, because you labor on the earth. The earth is under the sun. So now that we come here, right, in chapter 3, verse 16, where he says, under the sun, it's talking about the earth. All right. So he says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment. What? The place of judgment under the sun, which is the earth. Here on the earth is where judgment happens, like we read earlier. You die, you get judged. The Lord judges you. You come back. You live again, like it said. You live again. And there, the names of the righteous will be manifest, and the names of the ungodly will be manifest as well. Let's read on. It says that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness. So wickedness and the place of righteousness is there, and the place of judgment, which is under the sun, which is the earth. All right. It says, and the place of righteousness, that iniquity was there. I said in my heart, God shall judge the righteous and the wicked, for there is a time there for every purpose and every work. Here, under the sun, on the earth, is where that judgment will take place. Right here. We just read it. You come back. You live again. Right? Slack. You die. You go get judged by the Most High God. He sends forth his spirit on where he wants you to be born, like we read in Psalms. You understand? Psalms 104, verse 29. He sends forth his spirit. You are created where he wants you to be created at. You understand? And if you were evil and wicked, and you have sins to pay for, like he says, he requires that which is past. He will put you in a place in hell, in the worst hell that you could possibly imagine. And you'll live out that judgment there. You understand? So here, under the sun, man, is the place of it says, and moreover, I saw under the sun the place of judgment, under the sun, the earth, that wickedness was there, and the place of righteousness. They're both there. What's that place of righteousness? Right here in the UPK, man, in the ISUPK, that place of righteousness. So how is wickedness there? How is iniquity there? Because you're in that school, right? You're in the school, you're in the chair, you understand? You're learning, you're learning about the Lord, you're obeying the Lord, you're changing your life around, right? You're starting to live righteously, you understand? But as soon as you walk out that door, iniquity is there. Wickedness is there. You can see as soon as you walk out that door, there's whores on the street. There's drug dealers on the street. There's everything wicked right there in front of you. They're both there under the sun on the earth. All right. Let's go to Revelations. Well, I'll just cut that one for right now because I'm running out of time. Let's go to Revelation chapter 6 and verse 8. All right. Revelations chapter 6, verse 8. The book of Revelation, chapter 6, verse 8. And it says, and I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. So hold up. This is the spirits, right, of the four horsemen. They're the spirit of famine, war, what else? Death, and then you have the spirit of Christ, all here on the earth, right? And that's what you're seeing here right now during these times. You understand? You're seeing all this. You're seeing the spirit of war, the spirit of famine, the spirit of pestilence and death, and you're also seeing the spirit of Christ. You understand? Here on the earth, though. You understand? This is where the four horsemen will take place at. You understand? Here on earth. And it says, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. So is it the hell under there where fire is coming up? No, man. It's talking about a living condition, right? This horseman is the spirit of death is coming running through the earth. You understand? Running through the earth, and he's bringing hell with him, which is a living condition. All right. It says, and hell followed with him. But where did hell follow with him? Here on the earth. You understand? Here on the earth. It says, and power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill. You understand? On the earth, like you just said. It says, I'll read it again. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword and hunger and death and the beasts of the earth. That's hell. That's the hell that followed with him. Those are conditions, though, on the earth. That's not you going under the ground and turning on fire forever. That's a hellish condition here on earth. You understand? The killing with the sword, the hunger, the death, and the beast of the earth. You understand? That's a hellish condition here on earth, man. You understand? So, let's move on. Let's see. All right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 5 and verse 13. Isaiah chapter 5, verse 13. It says, therefore, my people are gone into captivity. Now, that's important. His people, the Israelites, have gone into captivity, all right, which is a condition on earth. All right. It says, because they have no knowledge, and their honorable men are famished, and their multitude dried up with thirst. Once again, conditions. You understand? Living conditions. It says, therefore, hell. Wait, what? It says, therefore, hell hath enlarged herself, opened her mouth without measure. This is that condition because they've gone into captivity. All of the what does it say? The honorable men, they've gone into captivity, and now hell has enlarged and taken the nation of Israel, which is a living condition in captivity. All right. It says, therefore, hell have enlarged herself and opened her mouth without measure, and their glory and their multitude and their pomp, and he that rejoices shall descend into it. What is that? It is that condition of captivity here on earth. All right. Now let's go to Jonah. I'm gonna get two more, and then that'll be it. Let's go to the book of Jonah. All right, I'm gonna start at verse. I'm gonna go to chapter 2, and then I'm gonna start at verse 2. All right, Jonah chapter 2, verse 2. Okay, I'll start at verse 1 actually, because it gives the context of what's going on. All right. So verse 1, it says, then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of the fish's belly. So he's in the belly. You understand? This is when he got swallowed up. All right. So he's in there praying to the Lord. All right. Verse 2, it says, and said, I cried by reason of my affliction. The hellish condition he's living in. You understand? Just like Paul said about the Israelites. He said, I wish myself were accursed from Christ for my brethren, my kinsmen, according to the flesh, man. He was seeing what they was going through in Rome, man. Seeing the persecution and the hell. You understand? Just like what happens to our people today. You understand? We see our people getting knees put on their neck. We see our people getting locked in cages. We see our people dying in reservations. You know, I'm pretty much convinced that they wanted to open up America just to steal more Black, Hispanic, and Native American children and young ladies, man. Like, soon as America started opening back up is when you see now all on Facebook how many of our children are starting to come up missing, man. Like, that's hell. That's hell on earth. Can you imagine a mother having a mother and a father having to worry about their child being taken, being kidnapped, and having the thoughts in their head of what is happening to their baby, what is happening to their child? That's hell, man. That's a hell. That's affliction here on earth. You understand? That's hell. All right. It says, and I said, I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I. But what belly was he in? He was in the belly of the fish, man. He called that condition he was in hell, because hell is a condition, just the same as heaven, man. Heaven is a condition here on earth. You understand? Our oppressor is living in that heavenly condition, man. they're living in that heavenly condition while you are living in hell. Like I said, you understand? Like imagine, you understand? Like those 1,500, Israelite babies in them cages came up missing. Like, can you imagine how the parents feel? Like they're helpless and can't do nothing. And it's because of their affliction. They're in hell, man. They're in hell. You understand? So let's get one last one, and then I'll cut the class. Let's go to Psalms chapter 18. Psalms chapter 18 and verse 5. All right. Psalms 18 and verse 5. It says, the sorrows of hell. That's King David. You understand? He's saying the sorrows of hell compassed me about. I mean, it's all around him. He's looking all around him, and it's hell everywhere. All right. It says, compassed me about. The snares of death prevented me. So you see, he's talking about this condition that he is in. It is hell to him. So never in the scriptures, was hell considered a place under the earth where you are burning forever and ever. You understand? Never. All right. So heaven, we saw, is the place where Black, Hispanic, and Native, the kingdom of heaven is here. That kingdom come, that will be done here on earth as it is in heaven. You understand? And he saw New Jerusalem coming down, where it said also that kings, that we shall reign on earth as kings and priests. You understand? Ecclesiastes 3:16 showed how the place of judgment is here under the sun. We know under the sun is the earth, where judgment is, the place of wickedness and the place of righteousness in the same place. Why? Because you die, you think you could go on sinning, doing whatever you want to do. When the Lord said he will visit you for the third and fourth generation, man. Just like them Israelites that came out of captivity out of Egypt. He told them, you will go back into Egypt again with ships, man, if you don't hearken unto what I tell you to do. All these laws, statutes, and commandments, which I tell you, you will go into Egypt again. But they died in the wilderness. But they came back in the earth. They reincarnated, regenerated in the earth. You understand? Then you had the transatlantic slave trade, man. You understand? Where, like we read, you die, you go to the Lord, you get judged, where you live again. It said, you live again. You understand? So, you see, heaven and hell, man, it's a condition here on earth, man. And like Christ said, he told his disciples, go to the lost sheep of the house of Israel and preach to them, man, to them, that the kingdom of heaven is at hand. That's Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people, man. And who else is living in hell like us? And who else needs to be preached to that the kingdom of heaven is at hand? But we gotta show them, they're like the scripture says, cry aloud and spare not, man. Our people think that we do it to just be loud, and you understand, but we do it because we love you. We love Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people. You understand? We want their condition of hell here on earth to change into the kingdom of heaven. Not worried about who will ascend into heaven, but so that we bring Christ down from heaven, that all Black, Hispanic, and Native American Indian people will be saved, man. Like Paul said, it's my heart's desire, man, that all Israel shall be saved out of this hellish condition. You understand? And inherit the kingdom of heaven, man. All right, so that's the breakdown for heaven and hell. You see, thanks to the Christian church, once again, man, you've been led to believe. That's why the scripture says, man, like, through thy precepts I get understanding, and I hate every false way, man. If our people knew that their children, their children's children, and then their children's children would suffer for the sins that they commit, just so that the punishment could come right back to you when you be reborn in the earth, you would understand that you would have to change your ways to if you really loved your children, you would change your ways to make sure that they change their ways as well. All right. So Monday through Friday, starting at 7 p.m., we have class like always. You understand? Go to the ISUPK.com, find the class that's in your city. You understand? Tune into any class you want, right? On Facebook and YouTube. Search up any city. Just like, share, and subscribe all the classes. You understand? Uh, Also Monday nights we have Commanding General Yohanna show, right, on YouTube and Facebook. Go search it up on YouTube. It's called Black Watch. You understand? Go like, share, and subscribe over there as well. And also set the notification bell so you can get notified when he goes live, because he does go live outside of Mondays. You understand? He sometimes Wednesdays and Thursdays as well. All right. Every Wednesday we have Ask Ye the Prophets, right? Go to the Facebook page. All right. It's called Ask Ye, Y-E, the Prophets. All right. And you'll find the email there, okay, on the page. Click that email. You can send in your questions to that email of what you have according to the Bible. You understand? Or any questions. You understand? Any questions you have, send them in. All right. Also tonight, we also have The Inconvenient Truth with Officer Kazak Yad out in Cali, man. Tune into that. Like, share, and subscribe over there. Cross the Line Radio every Thursday night, starting at 10 p.m. Eastern time. All right. We also have One West Radio show on Cali time every Thursday night, starting at 9 p.m. What else? Saturdays, we have the Sabbath service, man. Come down to the Sabbath service in your city. You understand? Come see the traditions and read the Hebrew. You understand? Also go to ISUPK.com. Go pay your tithes. You understand? Your tithes and donations, and help support the truth. And like I said, like, share, and subscribe all these classes, man. Like I always like to say, if you tune in for just 1 second, or you tune in for the whole class, press the like button. You understand? Don't take nothing but pushing the button. All right. And yeah, with that being said, shalom.